I have two brief questions I'd like to ask, if I may.
Left Foot Media, my name is Brendan Malone and you're watching The Daily Question. Today's question of the day: why is there so much hate for Elon Musk? Now, the reason I'm asking that question is because of the reaction that some have had to his voluntary involvement in the recent Thai caving soccer team rescue efforts, where that young soccer team and their coach were stuck in that underground network of caves in Thailand that was flooded. They're in a very, very dangerous and precarious situation. It could have easily ended with all of them dead. And Elon Musk volunteered his time and resources to trying to engineer basically a solution, to come up with a way of bringing the boys out safely. And the idea that he proposed was a rescue pod, kind of like a tube, a steel tube. The boys go into it one at a time and then the divers transport them out. Now, that sounds like a great idea on paper. He made it work in a test pool. It looked all very good and sound. He gets to the site in Thailand and he discovers, however, that it's not going to be a practical solution, because the way the cave network is structured, you can't actually get this thing around corners. So if it was all straight, great idea, but it's not. There's bends and corners, and obviously a steel tube is not going to be flexible, so you can't really use the device. So Elon Musk leaves the device with them and says, here you go, if it comes in handy in future, or you want to use it in other circumstances, it's all yours. And he leaves. And then when they complete the rescue with the divers and they save all the boys, he tweets out on social media about how awesome this rescue was and job well done, congratulates them. But for some reason, his involvement attracted a lot of hate. There were people online who were attacking him. There were people in their sort of media commentary roles writing opinion columns about how this was just some sort of shameless PR stunt on his part. And then yesterday, one of the divers who was involved in the rescue and was actively involved in this rescue, he came out in an interview and said that this was nothing more than a PR stunt on his part, and he criticised Elon Musk, and he attacked him in particular for by saying that this tube wouldn't have worked. It was all just a pointless thing, and it was just a PR stunt. Well, here's the thing that I don't get. I don't understand why that would make this a PR stunt. Now, yes, subsequent to that, Elon Musk, I think, did respond in a very uncharitable way. He referred to that diver online as a pedo. Now, I'm assuming he doesn't mean pediatrician or pedometer. I'm assuming he means pedophile, which is a pretty uncharitable thing to say about a person. However, I also think it's uncharitable to suggest that Elon Musk was engaged in nothing more than a self-interested, ego-driven PR stunt just because the idea that he came up with wouldn't actually work, and he discovered that when he arrived at the scene that his tube wasn't actually going to get the job done. It's quite possible for someone to be well-meaning and to have good intentions and just not execute the final plan well without having any nefarious intent on their part. So it just seems strange to me that you would accuse him of this without much in the way of substance, it seems. I don't know, why would you assume that this is a PR stunt? I look at this and my initial assumption is that Elon Musk is a guy who, just like the rest of us, was worried about these group of young boys and the fact that they were trapped and wanted to see them rescued safely, except unlike the rest of us, he actually had the resources and the ability to try and engineer a solution that would actually be of practical assistance and would actually facilitate that rescue, and that's what he did. It seems he has a habit of doing these sorts of things. He's a guy who thinks about the world in a slightly different way. Yes, he has his eccentricities, but I think most creative genius types, they do have that eccentricity about them, so there's nothing unusual about that. And so my assumption is he's a guy who wants to help. Now, regardless of whether his solution is actually going to work or not, I applaud someone for actually wanting to get involved and do something to help other people. Surely that's what great societies are all about. They're about people who don't stand on the sideline and do nothing. They're about people who get involved when they see others in need. I don't understand why is there such cynicism here towards him. There's really no gain for him if you think about it. I don't see how this really is a particularly good or practical PR stunt on his part. I mean, first of all, he's not in the business of selling rescue tubes, so there's no real financial gain here. It's not like he's been sitting there for ages thinking, yeah, great, this is the moment we've been waiting waiting for. We can finally prove to the world that our rescue tube that we've invested so much money in is going to work. It's going to save lives, and we're going to sell millions of these things all over the world once people see this thing in operation. We've got to get in there and exploit this horrible tragedy to sell these tubes. That's not what he's in the business of doing. As far as I'm aware, he doesn't sell rescue tubes, so there's no financial gain here. And this is a guy who doesn't need PR. This is a guy, one of the few guys in the world today, who is all around the world. He's a household name. He has a regular presence in the public life, in the modern world. He's not someone who desperately needs more PR. So I sort of don't understand why we would accuse him of that, unless there is some actual substance to this that we can show, hey, here's the proof that this was nothing more than a shallow, superficial, sort of ego-driven stunt on his part. Why would we assume that? Have we become cynical? Are we just so cynical about the world now that even people offering to help, we just assume that there's some nefarious motive? Oh no, this can't be genuine help. How can this be genuine help? There's something more going on here. Read between the lines. Have we just become so cynical about life that even an offer of help is something that we look at in a cynical way now? Or is it the fact that he's rich and we now are sort of almost conditioned by certain factors to look at rich people with this sort of overarching suspicion? What are their real motives? Is he's just greedy, isn't he? We all know rich people sit around all day just looking for ways to exploit the poor and vulnerable. So why would he want to help people? Like, I just don't get the hatred. I really don't get the hatred. Like I said, if there is legitimate evidence to back up this claim that this was nothing more than a cynical PR stunt on his part, then sure, he should be called out on that. But at this stage, I don't really see that evidence. I just see a guy who had the resources, who wanted to help, who was exuberant in his desire to get involved, proposed a solution which looks pretty good and actually worked in a pool, but wasn't going to work in the actual scenario, then left the solution with the people who are over there in Thailand, and on top of that, he congratulated the people who carried out the rescue, and then all of a sudden, he's getting slaughtered in the press for daring to get involved. I don't understand why. As per usual, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you like the content I'm creating and you'd like to see more of it, then please support me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. There's a link in the description below and a link on screen at the end of this video. That's right, I can hear my theme music too. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily Question.